And welcome to the Midday Show. We are trying something new today. I'm staring at Mark. Mark is staring at me. We're in the same place at the same time. We're going to talk about Bill Gates' divorce. We've got some celebrity dating stuff, a Peloton recall. We're going to get back to some local stories here at the end of the week, but a little bit of fun here today as we're together, really like for the first time in the same room, Mark.
It's interesting. Now I'm going to watch you kind of look like a Kung Fu movie to me when you're talking, because I hear your voice and I see your mouth and they aren't going together. So I'm sure if I looked at your mouth, but then I look at it is, and it's like, I don't know. But anyway, we're having fun. You have the elaborate background behind you, obviously.
I went with the John Oliver, The Void in the white.
That was good.
On HBO
yes,
Max.
that is good.
That's what I'm going with today.
That is good. Well, I just want to share how talented Jeff is before we get started. This is a tape measure. Like, tape measure is very simple. How many people do you know that can break a tape measure? Well, Jeff did, because it won't recoil now. So how does one break a tape measure? I don't know. But that is what we're dealing with.
I wasn't trying. It just kind of happened. I don't know what to tell you. It looks like everything worked out okay, though.
Did it?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. As long as you're looking to measure something that's 42 inches, this is your utensil right here, because it's broken.
Kind of like Bill and Melinda Gates' marriage.
A lot.
How's that for a segue?
A lot broken, just like that.
Bill and Melinda are getting divorced. There's a lot of different ways that we could go with this. Some of the headlines, like if you just look at the headlines, I didn't know this. Apparently, Bill Gates is like a top line celebrity in Asia because of Microsoft and because of his technology and everything. He's like a Billie Eilish in China. And China is like heartbroken about this Bill and Melinda divorce.
Wait, he's like Billie Eilish? That's the biggest like celebrity you could come up with?
Well, no, I'm just saying there's like pop status, right?
Oh, okay, I get it.
Right. Like Elon Musk is famous, but he's not like here.
I understand.
Here, yeah. So in China, he has like pop celebrity status. Like people kind of like are excited. Not that you wouldn't be excited to see Bill Gates, but there is this kind of like, can I get your autograph mentality to Bill Gates, like in China.
See, I was excited because, first J-Lo was back on the market. Now Melinda Gates is out there. Like it's almost like, shooting fish in a barrel here at some point for me.
Well, so the other one, it just came out from the Wall Street Journal that I have pulled up. $1.8 billion worth of stock was just transferred to Melinda Gates as they're figuring out this divorce. So I'm sure that's part of like an amicable decision that Bill and Melinda came to. So Melinda has officially $1.8 billion of her own stock now.
Listen, I'm easy. Like, just give me like a couple. I still buy CDs, get me my Netflix subscription and like I like a pickup truck, and that's about it. I after that I have no complaints. She can do whatever she wants.
That's all you need. So this will flow in well to like the next thing we're going to talk about. Rumors are starting to fly about Bill Gates, because anytime something ends, the rumors always come out like, oh, well, I heard they were with this person, or I saw them do that. So with Bill Gates, the rumor now is that he was taking his ex-girlfriend places after he was married to Melinda. So they basically tied the knot, and apparently he was still spending a lot of time with his ex-wife. To me, the irony is it only comes out after, right? Like no one's talking about it when they're married.
I thought they were married a long time.
I think they were married a long time, which is kind of what I'm hinting at. That's kind of the point, is he was kind of hanging out with it. Or are you talking about his ex-wife he was married to for a long time?
I thought he was married to Melinda for a long time.
I think he is too. And so the point they're making...
So this is a chick from 25 years ago?
That's what it sounds like.
Wow.
That's what it sounds like.
Your old girlfriends won't even speak to you anymore, let alone come around and ruin your marriage. I think what it goes to show is
Tekla says it happens.
It happens,
which is maybe the greatest response we've ever had on the
happens.
show.
It just shows that with all the if you don't get along, you don't get along, and after a while, it just all the money in the world and all that
No, there's a lot of truth to it. I think it brings up, and the other thing that we were going to talk about today is, like, if you're a celebrity, whether you're going through a divorce or you're just newly single or you've always been single, we have this concept of like celebrities date differently. Like the idea that a celebrity, like if you're Bill Gates now, like what is your single pool? Like where are you going?
See, that's not the question I'm asking. I'm asking if you're Melinda Gates, what is your single pool? That's what I want to know.
So Ben Affleck recently just had a video released. You may know the story a little bit better than me at this point, but Ben Affleck just had a video released basically asking a girl why they unmatched him.
Well, apparently there's a celebrity dating site, which it's called Raya, R-A-Y-A, which neither of us knew existed until this story came
I had
out.
no idea.
And immediately our thoughts were, why are we not on this dating site? Because we are celebrities. Apparently, the subscription is only $7.99 a month, so it's very affordable, but there is a screening process. You can't just, and they said depending on who it is, it could take from a day up to a couple months to actually get to put up a profile. And according to what I read, 8% of applicants actually get through.
Okay.
So some of the names, let me find this.
So it's almost, as you're finding that, it's almost like you have to be like blue check verified.
Yes.
Okay.
Hold on. Let's believe.
You know what the neat thing, because again, as you're finding those names, the neat thing about that is it's not, it kind of bypasses money, and it's almost more about fame in a way. Because you could be a social media person with like 30,000, 35,000 followers and maybe not hit it big yet financially, and yet still be on that app because there's like a cachet to you.
Right. And it makes sense that there is an app just for the elite. So here's some: Ruby Rose.
Yep.
Diplo.
Yep. Music.
John Cusack, Patrick Schwarzenegger, who I assume is Arnold's kid.
Okay.
Joe Jonas, Matthew Perry from Friends, Elijah Wood, Raven Simone, Zach Braff, Ginny Weasley. Oh, Ginny Weasley actress Bonnie Wright. She's the one who played Ginny Weasley. I was going to say, I know Ginny Weasley. Channing Tatum, Amy Schumer, obviously Ben Affleck, Demi Lovato, and Niall Horan.
He's a singer.
I was going to say, he's the one I don't know.
Yes.
Have all been spotted on it. So I guess it's, if you're Channing Tatum, you get a profile in a day.
Yes.
If you're Jeff and I, it would probably take us a week.
So the best part about that is, let's say you're Ben Affleck and you're swiping through it. What is the Mendoza line? Meaning, like, who does he come across where he's like, how did they get on Raya? Like, I would love to see them swiping, and like, what would be like the borderline of where like, oh yeah, like I expected that person. And then you get to the person, you're like, how did they ever get on Raya?
Well, so supposedly, as the story goes, that there is a model actress, girl, I can't remember.
I can tell you her name. Her name is Naveen J.
Naveen J, yes. So, and they matched, because I guess it's like, Matt, you put in what you like, what you don't like. They matched, and she then had to like unclick him, basically. She unmatched him. So he sent her a video on Instagram that said, "Why did you unmatch me?" Which I think is hysterical. I love Ben Affleck. I know he's had his issues. I know he's been through marriages. I know he's had issues with alcohol. I also know he's a Red Sox fan, which, I have trouble getting past.
Sure.
But he also co-wrote my favorite movie of all time, so I give him credit for that. But to do this, he has so willing to, he knows it's going to go. Sure. Like, he's just like, his ability to goof with himself, I think, is so much higher than most of these A-listers. And he is an A-lister. There's no doubt about it. So, yeah, and her response was, I thought it was fake. That's why now my question is, and maybe she didn't know, maybe her famous friends are just like, hey, you should get on Raya. So she did, and she thought maybe everyone got accepted. Right. In reading through it, you figure they vetted enough to make sure there are no fake Ben Afflecks on the site. But she thought it was fake, and he said, he's like, no, it's really me. It's really me.
I mean, like you said, the best part, you can see the picture in the middle of the screen if you're watching the video. The best part is, like, it's not like he's in like a shirt and tie and he's like decked out. You can tell, like, he's just lounging around.
He's at home.
And he's just at home, probably in his sweatpants, and he's just like, oh man, like, this girl unmatched me and just found her. So it's just, the normalcy of it is what like really hit home with me, like with the video. Not that like I think everybody's on a dating app and everybody's going on social media and like asking people why they unmatched them, but there was just this normalcy of the video of just kind of like, here I am lounging at home and I've got nothing better to do, so I'll just try to find out why this girl unmatched me.
I think one of the other things about Ben Affleck, I mean, just to go off on him as opposed to the story, because this is a funny story, and just like to throw yourself out there knowing that it's like he's just basically saying, I'm on a dating app. Yeah, like I'm this famous, and I mean, like I think it shows so much balance of his life and but he has done obviously some wonderful movies, some historic movies, and he's done some really bad movies.
Sure.
Like I had a music professor in college that says like the difference between Mozart and Beethoven is the worst thing Mozart ever wrote is really good. Like Beethoven wrote some god-awful, unlistenable stuff, but then he wrote the Ode to Joy and the Fifth Symphony and stuff like that. And I think one of the things that is endearing about Ben Affleck is he has had great successes, great failures. He's been back and forth, and he hasn't just ridden this like everything he touches turns to gold. And I had I've had people say to me about he directed Argo. And they're like, watch Argo and tell me he shouldn't direct more stuff. Yeah. Because even though you knew what was going to happen, you were on pins and needles the whole time. It's perfect. And he's in Argo. Oh, yeah. So you don't like, it's one of those things. And then at the end, you're like, oh my God, he directed it too.
Right.
And he's a very talented, but very flawed. And I think that's what makes him endearing.
I think he has a very hard time when it's not within his control. So when Good Will Hunting, ton of control, was able to kind of manipulate it and get what he wanted out of himself and other people. Same thing with Argo. I think where he really struggles is when he has to take direction from others, because part of what you're saying is like, there is a piece of him inside that is very ingenious. So I think the best things he's ever done were either created by him or where he had the ability to kind of control himself and what was around him.
And when you say directed by others, is that including women, like his wives?
Not at all.
So he can't take.
He clearly loves women. He got rid of one and immediately tried to find another.
No, I'm not saying he doesn't like women. I'm just saying when they start telling him what to do, and he's like, "Woo, this relationship thing might not be working."
I mean, the others. Before we get off of this, the whole Rhea app thing, it really does it does kind of answer how celebrities date. Like you've always wondered, like, is there just this idea, like, it's not an email chain? Like, it's not like they're constantly going out and seeing each other.
Oh, it's the club.
So how are they, so how are they bumping into each other? And especially in 2021, how are they bumping into each other? I had no idea, never heard of the Rhea app. It answers a ton of questions about just like celebrity life.
It makes perfect sense.
It really does.
It is the special club. You're in the VIP section behind the velvet rope that with the big bouncers with the earpiece that says, no, you can't get in, but you people can.
Yeah.
No, and it makes,
I'm with you.
Could you imagine being like, because this chick, what was her name again?
Naveen J.
Have you ever heard of her before?
I have not, but as soon, like, if you go on social media, you can see like she's verified on everything.
Okay. But then there have to be people on this site 100%. That even the famous people don't know.
That's what that's why I said I would love to see the Mendoza line.
Yes. If you're Naveen J, I could certainly understand where you're like, oh, Channing Tatum, like you like really Channing Tatum's interested in me, like Ben Affleck. Oh, really? Like I'm, you know. And so I can see that. So I'm sure those people, like, just to get in and just to be like, oh my God, look who's here. Demi Lovato. Look who's here.
We should find somebody who has like 30,000, like someone who's not quite a celebrity, but has a following. We should try to find somebody that has like 30,000 followers and see and ask them to register and apply so we can go through the process with them. That would be fascinating.
That would be good.
Because I wonder what the cutoff is.
The process, the people we know, the process would take 20 minutes. And they'd be like, no, thank you.
You think so?
Yes, that's it.
No, I disagree. There has to be a cutoff. There has to be a Mendoza line. Somewhere where it's just like, this is it, you're in or you're out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like who, like, can you think of somebody like who would be, like who would, like, do you think the backup kicker for the Pittsburgh Steelers could get on Rhea?
No.
Do you think the kicker for the Pittsburgh Steelers could get on Rhea? See, it's a fascinating
See, this is,
comment.
you're asking
Where
me,
is
and
the
I
line?
don't know how good, because if it's all about, like, because nowhere in there did it name an athlete. So it's all about like Hollywood and musicians and stuff.
Maybe.
Now the question is, could a backup dancer for Britney Spears get on? And I'm going to say no.
I would think the kicker for the Steelers would have an easier time getting on than the backup dancer for Britney Spears.
Maybe.
I think so.
Maybe.
I think so. A Peloton recall, and this is not a small one. A lot of the recalls that we see in the news.
We should mention, sorry, we should thank Wise Markets. We don't have the wheel today.
No,
because we're moving offices and we're in new digs, and we were just at like 11 o'clock. We're like, should we just try to do it from here? And we're like, yeah, let's try to do it from here. So that's why we have no wheel, because the wheel is in a different building across town. So
Yes.
Sorry for that, but thank you to Wise Markets. The wheel will be back tomorrow. We're not sure where we'll be at. We'll have to look at this and see how it turned out. Maybe there's no broadcast going at all. Who knows? But we will. We'll have the wheel back tomorrow. But thank you to Wise Markets for the sponsorship and all they do for us. And we will have the prizes back mañana.
Yes, and we'll give them a shout out. A lot of recalls, they're like a certain product, so many coming back. Very rarely is there a recall for every machine. Now, it's voluntary, but Peloton is basically recalling every single one of their machines, basically due to safety protocols. There was also an incident with the death of I'm not sure how old, but it was the death of a child. So it's a giant recall. Have you ever been on a Peloton?
I've been on a treadmill. What's the difference?
Okay. Apparently, well, there's a screen and it kind of interacts with the workout and what you're doing.
Okay.
Doesn't appeal to you.
I hate treadmills. I'm an exercise bike guy.
Okay. But you use exercise equipment with a screen. It's just not part of the equipment.
It's a television.
To me, this seems right up your wheelhouse.
A Peloton?
It's a workout device with a screen attached.
But what am I watching? Like, I don't want to watch the road while I ride. I want to watch a movie while I ride.
I don't think you're watching. Well, no, they're encouraging you. There's like programs, and they tell you like, all right, like you can do ones where it's like, all right, we're running away from whatever, or you can just do ones where they're just encouraging you, or you can do ones where it's like, like sit up and you sit down and then you go harder, faster. Like it's all these different challenges.
The only thing I would need there is a mute button, so I can watch whatever I'm watching.
What do you typically watch? You usually watch sports.
Either I watch a sporting event if I'm really into it. It makes it easy. Or I watch a lot of movies, depending on, because I'll work out at odd times. Sometimes I'll work out at midnight. And anything, if I can find a movie that I've already seen before,
right,
then I can watch a half hour of it or 40 minutes of it, and my brain doesn't have to overly. But yeah, I don't need the screen telling me to keep pedaling. Like that's the purpose. That's why I'm there. I get it.
Shares for Peloton sank by more than 8%. The CEO actually came out and apologized for not withdrawing the products earlier.
What makes them dangerous? Do we know?
So apparently the staff believes serious risks to children for abrasions, fractures, and death in light of multiple reports of children becoming entrapped, pinned, and pulled under the rear roller of the product. If you have children at home, they're advising that you stop using the product immediately. So this is one of those catch-22s where you don't want to make fun of anybody, but you had hinted at the idea like who's letting their child use the Peloton? And, accidents happen. But to your point, the recall seems like, I don't want to say it's an overreaction, but there is kind of an idea of like, if a child is using it, why is a child using a Peloton?
Yes. And I've seen kids, not even like a kid, like I've seen kids who are, 10, 11, 12, get on treadmills. They crank it up to a speed that's too fast because you can crank it up.
Yeah.
And I have seen kids bounce off of treadmills because they couldn't keep up. They fell and they got shot off the back. And then fortunately they were all old enough and they were unhurt enough that you look at them and say, hey, moron, what are you doing? And they're like embarrassed and not hurt.
Right.
But I would suspect, just going out on a limb, that lots of these accidents are because parents aren't paying attention.
Yeah.
I can see if the parent is using it and a toddler comes up
behind
and the parent is kind of helpless because they're
that makes the most sense to me.
Yes. But it's, I don't know.
It doesn't give a timetable. There's been over 70 incidences. So I'm not I understand something probably had to be done from a company standpoint, and there's probably been enough people, enough lawsuits, enough complaints, things coming in that they felt like they had to do something. But basically they're saying it's an issue with every device that involves the treadmill.
I don't know what they're going to do to change it, but of the 70,000, there are lots of them that are user error and neglect.
Yeah, I would think so too. So if you have a Peloton, check it out. If you have kids around your Peloton, just be sure to keep that in mind and figure out the best way to use it.
I wonder, I don't mean to take this into a different realm because maybe they did it with purity at heart, but this gets Peloton's name out there.
It does.
And it gets their, oh, look, these people are doing the right thing.
Sure.
They're going to make it safer. So a year from now, when there must be studies on this, that a year from now, when somebody goes to buy a treadmill, are they going to have a negative connotation of Peloton, or are they going to have a positive connotation? They're going to say, oh, it's safer now because they recalled all the bad ones, so these must be good. And also, they would have known the stock price was going to drop.
Sure.
So now are the bigwigs buying in lower, thinking that it's going to immediately rebound and they're going to make money off it? Because you're thinking they're losing lots of money. But is there? So I don't know. Those are all the conspiracy theories that are running through my head.
Sure, it's plausible. Like you take a one-day hit for a 1 year gain. I mean, it's definitely plausible. Let's do streaming wars. You saw that a Tom Hanks movie is actually getting removed off of HBO Max.
Well, this is why I hate media now. I'm beginning to hate it more and more because there's so much competition. And they need clicks. And I've explained this to people, and this is one of the aspects of NorthcentralPa.com, that when we, because we're online, because stuff is online now and it's on people's phones. So as opposed to, when we were 30 years ago and 20 years ago and 50 years ago, when people picked up the newspaper, that was their only option. They could read what was in the newspaper. So if it was there and you're a newspaper reader, you're probably going to read it. Now in your phone, it is countless how many things you have to choose from. So it is for some of these, like we have a niche. We are North Central PA. We are local news. So people know that they can come to us for local news. For those that are just out there in whatever, and they're fighting for market share, come up with somewhat catchy or oftentimes misleading headlines to kind of sucker the people in. And one of these, now did I put it away? It said, it was that Disney Plus, a famous Tom Hanks movie removed from Disney Plus. Now, in our era right now of removed, we think of things that are, like we said, recalled. We saw the Dr. Seuss books that were removed. We've seen other these that have cultural or ethnic or something that is negative, and now we're trying to take it out of circulation. Well, the Tom Hanks movie they're talking about is big, and the reason that it was removed from Disney Plus is because it was just acquired from the rights were acquired from something else, but the rights were already scheduled to, I think, Fox and HBO. So it's basically just contract overlap. And they ran it in December, but then they couldn't run it anymore because it was already under contract for a little while with this other. And when that contract expires, they'll run it again on Disney Plus. So this whole, it was removed just gives it implies something salacious that, oh, there's something bad about, and that's why we're removing it. No, it's just like a contract. We're not, they can't show it now, so they won't. And when that contract expires, and that's what is so, maybe I'm just annoyed because it suckered me in. Because I was like, well, which Tom Hanks movie has, stuff? Right. And then I'm like, oh, no, it doesn't. It's just paperwork.
Yeah, removed, it definitely has a negative connotation. 100%. I agree with you. I think the biggest part is it didn't say contractual dispute. It didn't say anything like that. So it's definitely a clickbaity title for a clickbaity world. Kind of what you're hitting at. You tell me all the time, you're sucker 101 for clickbait.
I am. And maybe I just feel stupid because I read clickbait all the time. There is I don't care whether it's like, sunken treasure, ghost towns, like a band. I am all over it. Movie, actors and actresses who hated each other, movies where the sex scenes were real. Like I'm all in all of these. Like, and
like why though?
Like so you tell me, like, actors and actresses who actually hated each other. You don't find that interesting?
Here's I guess, okay. Maybe it's just like the age discrepancy. Thank you. Like I've just never looked at something that was clickbait and my first thought was I need to click on that. Whereas like my mom will click on anything. Like I love my.
That's why your mom's a lot cooler than you are.
I love my mom to death, but like she used to have like the old emails, whether it was Yahoo or whatever else, and whatever thing was on the front of Yahoo, like she would just go through and click them because they were like catchy and clickbaity. So is it an age thing that I just don't view it as something worth clicking?
I guess you're just not interested in the world around us. Like 10 most underrated exotic vacations. Like, you're not curious at all?
Is there anyone more interested in the world around us than me that you
Apparently not. You don't find that, like...
I know it's not that I don't find that interesting. It's that I know that they just want me to click on it. I'm not actually going to see the 10 most interesting vacation places.
I mean, the people at the drive-thru just want you to come order food, but I'm hungry, so we're like, it's a mutual.
So maybe that's the difference. Is I'm not desperate for entertainment, whereas you are desperate for entertainment.
When you're scrolling through your phone, of course you're desperate for entertainment.
Right, but I'm not looking for clickbait. I'm looking for different things. I think we solved this. I understand the menu and where to find the menu I want, whereas maybe someone like you or my mother does not understand how to get to what they want, so they settle for clickbait.
Oh, so now you understand and we don't. Is that what? Listen, I don't go on looking for the 10 most endangered species of West Africa, but when I see it, I'm like, wow,
this is how I know you click on everything. You came up with like 10 examples that can't be fake. They have to be real.
The last one I just made up, but a lot of them are. I've clicked on lots of them.
No, it's interesting. The clickbait side of it is, I don't know. I've just never. I think that's why I've enjoyed the Twitters and the social media, is because I've learned how to navigate them. Whereas I feel like people who didn't grow up with it or are just diving into it now, it's harder to find what you're actually looking for.
Well, the thing that makes me mad about it is when you come across one like these and you start scrolling through and then they give the whole backstory and you realize that they just want you to scroll and scroll and scroll so they can run ad after ad. And some clickbaits are better than others. And there are those that you get halfway through it and you're like, forget it. I don't even remember why I clicked on this now.
Right.
But whatever, I'm not spending another 5 minutes scrolling through. I just wanted to see which Happy Days. But I did learn, like, see, you're too young you don't remember Happy Days, do you?
No, I mean, I've seen episodes of Happy Days.
There was one that was like, which Happy Days star was hated so much, they got rid of him. And as a person who loved it, like my generation, we all loved Happy Days.
Sure.
I had to find out who it was. And see, now I know and you don't. And I'm better off for it.
Why would you be better off? I get wanting to know. The better off part. Here's the other thing too. Like if you really wanted to know it, you would have already looked it up. You only wanted to know it.
I didn't know that it was Pinky Tuscadero, by the way. I didn't know Pinky Tuscadero was so hated that they got rid of her. I didn't know that.
I know, but you didn't want to know that until they convinced you wanted to know that.
I didn't want to know until...
I'm just saying.
Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I didn't know it was possible.
I still think we should. But
like, that would be like saying, I didn't want to know there was a murder next door. Why? I didn't know there was. If I find out there was a murder next door, I want to know when it happened and what happened. But like, I was oblivious. But now that I know, now I want details. I didn't know anyone on Happy Days was hated, but apparently Pinky Tuscadero was.
Comparing a murder next door
to the
clickbait. No, it was good. Pinky
Tuscadero, by the way, was the greatest female demolition derby driver in television history, in case you were wondering.
I was not, and I won't be clicking on that one either. Just a shout out before we leave. If there is somebody out there and you have like a blue check verified social media account, if you have tens of thousands of followers, like maybe you don't have 1 million followers, but you have 25,000, please reach out to us. We would like to try to apply to the Raya app and really get like a firsthand experience for all of us. I think I think everyone should get the opportunity to at least see and experience what the Raya app is. So if we could live vicariously through your application process, and if by any chance you get on it, please reach out.
They won't let us. They won't. You
don't know
because they don't want them to be outed. That's why. Like I'm wondering right now how upset because these are like people who've been on who've said, "Oh yeah, I saw Channing Tatum. I saw."
Sure.
So it's.
But this is the point I'm making though. Like if we can find the right person and just get on. They don't care if we get kicked off. Like, who cares if we get kicked off? I just want us to get on, see what it's all about, and at that point, we're off. We don't need to be there.
No. I get that. I don't know.
So if you have 20,000, listen, there has to be people in our 12 counties. There has to be a handful of people that have 20,000 followers. There has to be.
But does that mean, 8%, dude.
I know.
8%.
I know. Listen, I'm just saying it's worth a shot.
So are there one-hit wonders who had a top 10 song in 1993 who can't get on?
Listen, this is what I'll say to you. There in our 12 counties, I bet you there is a chunk of people that on social media have tens of thousands of followers and they technically aren't famous. Like they don't actually.
Well, I'm sure.
Okay. You're telling me there's not a girl walking around State College right now that doesn't have 50,000, 100,000 followers on her Instagram.
But I don't.
And is blue check verified.
My question is, I obviously don't know the rules of Raya app, but that doesn't mean that they'll let her in just because she has a bunch of followers.
But I think that's what you find out first. Is if you went and you found the girl and the boy with most followers on Penn State's campus. And they started the application process. How close are they to getting in? And if one of them happens to get in, I would love to see it. I would just like to see behind the curtain. That's all.
You know who we need to talk to?
Who?
Bean.
That's really good. Bean might be able to get us on Raya.
That's what I'm here for.
He does have a boyfriend, though.
That's what I'm here for. Who cares?
Well, I'm just saying.
Bill Gates had a wife. It didn't bother him.
If you're he's not on Raya.
Well, if you don't know that.
The Raya app has to have a single they're going to find out if you're in a relationship, right?
Are they?
See, these are the answers. We need answers.
I want to know some of the 92% that got bounced that are like, imagine how many people who thought they were like B-list celebrities who are now on therapist couches and their life is over because they couldn't get into Raya.
That's what I would just love to know where the line is. That's all.
That would be awesome.
Thanks for hanging out with us today and appreciate Weiss Markets being our title sponsor. Make sure to go there for all your grocery needs. I am Jeff Everett. He's Mark Messina. Thanks for watching the Midday Show on NorthcentralPA.com.
Look, I look like Ben Affleck.